It was right after the 2014 season, so we had just started off-season workouts, and for some reason my neck was swollen. That wasn't a normal thing for me. It was a very strange feeling. So I went to the trainers, they agreed, they thought it was strange. I ended up going to the campus doctor, and they took a chest x-ray. They told me that I had a mass in my chest, and I didn't know what that meant. When someone tells you have a mass in your chest, I'm like, okay, what is that? Like a cough, or like, I didn't know how to comprehend it. So it wasn't until I got to the emergency room and the ER doctor came in and said, yeah, I think it's Hodgkins lymphoma. And I didn't even know what lymphoma was. Obviously, being in Ames, Iowa, and my parents are in Houston, I had to call them and tell them that I was probably going to be diagnosed with cancer, and that was definitely a tough thing to do. There's statistics and things like that, but you never really know if the treatment is going to work or not. And so Hodgkin's lymphoma has a 90% success rate with the first-line treatment, and for some reason I was in that 10%. So I ended up having to continue with my treatment and ultimately having a stem cell transplant. That was tough, but I think that the toughest part mentally was just the uncertainty and not knowing what'll happen in the future, and not knowing if the treatment that you're doing that is so tough, if it's actually going to work or not.
My first call the day I got here, the evening I got here, was to Mitchell, and I just was so impressed by who he was and what he stood for and the battle he was going through. And I wanted to make sure he knew there was a place on this football team for him, and that even though there was a little bit of a staff change, that he knew there was a home here for him. It was just really important for me that he felt that, and I think anytime that there's a coaching change, it can certainly be scary, and especially when you're not here. But I wanted to make sure he knew that this was his home, and I wanted to make sure that he knew he could come back when he was ready to, and it's been great to have him back.
I was bald and had no eyebrows, and they might not have seen me that way when I left, and so I knew I'd have to, stand in front of the team and like tell them I'm back, and I'm so glad that everybody welcomed me back with open arms. But at the same time, I just wanted to get back in the groove of things. I was more ready to just get back and be with the team again and just move on from everything.
The battle that he had battled over the last year and a half, that just still looked like such a great physical athlete, and he had a great smile on his face, and it just, everything that I had heard over the phone as we had talked through, really about a 6 months process until we finally got on campus and we got a chance to meet face to face. It just, once he cracked that smile, you knew just how special he truly is.
The biggest thing is you never realize that you can do something until it's thrown in your face and you have to do it. And so in terms of football, you might think, man, like, how am I going to get through this practice, or how am I going to get through these runs, or anything like that. And at the same time, you can do anything. If you don't think you can do it, but if something gets thrown in your face and you don't have a choice, that's when human instinct takes over.
One of the great parallels to the game of football is life, and I think Mitchell understands it. He's lived it. Football it's icing on the cake for him, and I think it's great for our football team to see it. It's great for us as coaches who are fathers and husbands to see, here's this young man who's taken adversity and attacked it head on. So I think it's been a really powerful story. And I think it continues to get more powerful, especially as we get to see him back on that football field this fall. It's one of the unique stories in college football this year, and it's a pretty special moment, and just it's an honor to be a part of it. It's an honor to be able to coach him now and be a part of his life.
I think it'll be pretty amazing just being back out there and knowing that the last time I was out there, I was on the sidelines not participating, and so I think it'll be really exciting.